Hey everyone, welcome back to 3D6 Down the Line, the most criminally underwatched actual play series on the internet. This is episode 97 of the Halls of Arden Vul Megadungeon Crawl by Richard Barton, using a heavily modified version of the old school Essential system by Necrotic Gnome. This is the beginning of Delve 6, the final delve of our grand campaign of the Halls of Arden Vul. This is the final push to the very end. Let's see what they decide to push toward. My name is John. I am your referee for the evening, and going around the horn, we have...
Hello, I am Mike. I am playing Brother Lothar, the 6th level cleric of Odin.
Hi, I'm David, and I'm playing Upior, the 6th level magic user.
Hi, everyone. Matt here. I play Wolfherd Cheek, nay Starkiller, 6th level fighter.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ted. I'm playing Mortis J. Gobliono, 7th level goblin, and he has a multi-pass, and he's not afraid to use it.
All right. So it is the 19th of Jelenios. It's about 2:10 p.m. We are in media res right now in the hangar bay, where there are two shuttles, one that is complete, one that has been stripped for parts. Mort has been able to work his way into that hangar bay, waving around a multipass identity plaque, an orange identity plaque, which has caused the battle robot, which has been there for quite some time, appears to be malfunctioning a little bit, to ignore Mort, but very much pay attention to everyone else who is back in the plasteel corridor to the north, beyond that iris door. The iris door currently is open enough that a human-sized person could move through it, but it is a circular opening in the middle of the door, right? So you kind of have to step through and duck and kind of get in there. So it has a much wider field of vision than it did the first time the AV Club encountered this this robot, when it was just a head-sized hole, but led to much destruction. So Mort discovered when he stepped through the door that that right at the foot of the door on the hangar bay side was the corpse of a Radishva, wearing a jumpsuit, having cybernetic implants, all that sort of jazz. And Mort was able to, while holding up the plaque in one hand, drag the 7-foot-tall corpse over to the door and heave it over the threshold to the arms of his waiting companions. And that is where we are right now. So the bot is approximately, I'd say, about 15 feet away from Mort, even further away from everybody else in the plasteel corridor. So Mort is sort of right, his back is up against the door practically, right? And facing the robot, and is basically standing in the way of his companions, who are pretty well protected behind him in that corridor. But the robot has done a thorough scan and does know that his companions are there. Okay, and that's where we are right now. We're not in combat. Elvis just sneezed all over my keyboard, so there's that.
Yes! Elvis, you savage.
Yeah, that's what we call explosive pellets.
He's my hero.
That's gross, Elvis. Okay.
Don't you hate it when you sneeze really hard? Don't you hate it when you sneeze really hard and you know that a booger left your nose? Oh,
it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, you need to save versus
What a
breath
good
weapon there,
boy.
John.
Okay.
What a good boy.
So, what do we do?
All right. So, John,
Yes.
Mort's intention here, if he can work it out, did he? I think we got a chance at one point to see, like, where the drone, because the drone doesn't just sort of float and wander around the room, right? It had like some spot that it came from, right?
Yeah, which is the eastern pile of high tech in the eastern side of the room, which is full of like machines and vehicles and equipment and stuff that you just can't make heads or tails of. Right. And it's so foreign to you, that stuff, that the bot sort of just kind of melds into that. It's almost camouflage because of how high tech everything is, and it just sort of separates from that. It did it both times that you encountered it. So that does seem to be an interesting spot. Yeah. Oh, one more point of logistics. Upior's haste was just cast, and it is still up for another 3 turns, just so you're aware. So that's mostly relevant in combat, but you could probably make that work outside of combat too, depending on what you want to do.
Right. So the guys were able to pull back, looks like 30 feet or so.
You guys can be wherever you want in the plasteel corridor, but the plasteel part of it is only 30 feet long before it becomes the natural cave leading to the Hall of Worthies.
So what Mort wants to do is step to the east a little bit and see what the drone does. And if the drone continues to threaten the guys, then he will step back in the way and try and figure something else out. But the first step is to just kind of move to the east a little bit and watch the drone.
Okay. So it tracks you basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then he will just sort of scuttle along the wall over to where he saw the drone coming from.
Okay, so when you do that, when you move over to that area, it you can see that one of its opticals basically follows you and tracks you, but the actual body of the robot itself stays in front of that door.
Okay. And is it 20 feet or 30 feet or something over to this pile of tech or
it is approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's about 60 feet away.
Okay. I'll go all the way over there.
You can get there very quickly because you're hasted.
I'm hoping to find, and I recognize that I don't know how to understand this tech fundamentally, but I do know mechanical things, and we've seen traps and secret doors and things that have levers and switches and stuff that turn them on and turn them off. Mm-hmm. So I'm in Mort's mind, he's like, it's another trap. Maybe there's a way to disengage the trap.
Yeah. Okay. So when you step over there and you kind of observe this, trying to kind of bring your former knowledge of mechanical things from the dungeon upon this pile of stuff, you can't make heads or tails of it. I mean, it's just it's so bizarre, so magnificent in scope and complexity. There's like a billion levers to pull. It's like you don't even know where to start. What you do see specifically now that you're over here, you can kind of get a good look at it. It's loaded with complicated machinery. Most of it is all connected via thick cables to outlets in the floor. Okay, so they're like running, carefully laid out, like a heavy duty location chute that you would see in, you know what I mean, like where they run the wires,
Oh yeah.
There is what appears to be two sorts of vehicles. You think one looks like a sled, one looks almost like a jet ski. There are huge cylinders of varying sizes. There is a huge image screens. There are
John, if I could interrupt for just a second.
Yeah.
You probably remember, but just as a reminder, Ted is wearing the Comprehend Languages helm. And so if there was any labeling on any of the things that you're going through right now, that would be relevant.
Right, true, yeah. There are 4 massive cylinders of something of plasteel. There is a looks like a refrigerated storage unit, console computers. There's a huge array of complex glass and steel combined chemical equipment, like a major laboratory. There are a dozen oval storage eggs that are like sort of alien sized, but they're definitely like manufactured, not organic. Just a whole bunch of shit. Now, I suppose that on a cursory glance, you could see that. Let me see. Hold on one second.
John, can I just ask, when we were here last time, didn't we see open bins of that orange ore?
If you did, then I'll say that, some of those egg things are open and showing that ore. Don't be gross.
The Arcanum ore, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about? Yeah.
The stuff that recharges our wands of lightning bolts.
Yeah, baby.
So
we
there's
might need
one
them as fuel, though. Sorry.
There's one that is there's an egg-shaped piece of black plasteel. It's about 3 feet in height. It's different than the white ones that are holding some of it's holding Arcanum. It has telescoping legs that are emerged from the holes in the base of it to form a tripod. So it's about 5 feet. So it's like a black egg sitting on a tripod, about 5 feet tall. The front of it though has it looks to be like a camera of sort on the front, and there's like a whole bunch of buttons on the back. Not that you would know it's a camera, Mort, but you do see that there is a Radishva glyph that magically changes in your mind that is labeled, and it just seems to be like a trademark sort of thing on a piece of it, and it says new coder, the new coder 3000 data recorder, and new coder is GNU, like the animal.
Help us, Obi-Wan. You're our only hope.
New coder 3000 data recorder.
It's a camera, awesome. Baby.
Captain's log, baby. Captain's log.
Does anything else have text that I can read? Any in particular? Anything that looks similar in shape, color, or decoration to the drone itself?
No. It doesn't say specifically, but I think there would probably be a glyph on some of this stuff. So there are they're sort of in the back of the whole amount of tech, like more up against the wall. There are 4 massive cylinders that sort of tower over you, all in a row, all uniform. And I would say that there's one like spray painted on glyph on each one that's the same, and that glyph says fuel.
Aha, called it. Also, okay. I just throw this out here. I mean, you have to be closer to inspect, but
yeah.
Take the snowmobile approximation, for instance. If there was an on switch, there's a probability that it would say on above the switch, right? Just like there might be like a nav or a fuel or some other like indication labeling those things. Just throwing it out there. I don't know if that is the case, but like just to get our heads in that space. I don't know if John feels
John
okay
had
about
said
that or not.
That the ID card, for example, had a glyph on it, but it couldn't translate it because it was more, I think he said it was like a logo or something, like kind of like the way power buttons now just have that circle with the line in it. It didn't, there's nothing to translate.
Say power
100%. So like just spitballing, and I don't want to interrupt too long. Let's say, for instance, we now know what the fuel canisters look like because you have something that's labeled as fuel. Right. A gas tank on a panel might have an image that looks similar to that.
Yeah.
Follow your own sort of like curiosity, Ted. But I'm going to shut up now. Yep.
One thought for us. Yeah. Going back to the first time that we encountered this alien tech, right? I think Mort's seen it.
Cryo thing.
Yeah, like the ship. This was after, like we went through the weird like Numa area and all that stuff. We went in the ship with the cryo areas, and we had a comprehend languages thing. But more importantly, we saw like a control panel, right? Like we saw that light up, right? And we've interacted with that.
Yep.
Maybe if you look around for anything like that, like little flat surfaces that are reflective, or at a maybe a little high for you because you're short. See if there's anything like that.
If there's another control panel around that I'm familiar with, they would probably zero right in on it.
Yeah, there are a number of control panels all around. There's like a lot of screens around.
So I'm going to look for a control panel that I guess is my goal here is to find a way to disable the drone. So if I see, 3 control panels and one of them is attached to a, fuel, and one of them is attached to a new coder, and the other one is just sitting there, I'm going to think maybe this one that's just sitting there might be for the drone because it's not attached to something.
Right.
And I might be off base here. There might not, the drone may be totally autonomous and doesn't have an off switch on the wall.
So
I don't know.
You see screens, in differing places. You can't make heads or tails what they're connected to or what they do, but they're all black.
So the screens, do they look vaguely at all like something that I would recognize? Like, for example, we've got the picture murals. Is there any reason for Mort to think that this is a thing that makes pictures?
Only because you saw a kind of similar control panels in the cryo chamber.
Oh, of course I did. Yeah. All right. So I'll pick one of these out, a computer screen or whatever it is, and I'll go up to the control panel and try and read it.
So it's black.
The control panel is?
Touch it.
Yeah.
Go get it.
Okay, Matt. Thank you. I thought it had a control panel with an attached screen. The screen is the control panel, is what you're saying?
Basically, yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, fine. Then I will.
Well done, Matt.
Yeah. I will interact with the screen then.
Use finger on screen.
Okay, so like you go in like a whole bunch of LED, not LED, but a computer screen basically pops up.
Space LEDs.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's
just to clarify, because my memory, and perhaps it's wrong, of when we were in the cryo chamber, was that there was I remember it being more like a keyboard, kind of like the Sleestak keyboards in Land of the Lost. But was I just visualizing it that way, and that's not what you described?
I can't remember, but I mean, it's an advanced civilization. They got numerous ways of computing.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So
I poke a screen.
Yeah, you poke a screen. There a menu pops up, like a whole bunch of stuff, and it looks whenever you are able to read it in modern Arcantian, which is what it basically translates to in your head. It looks to be a computer that is meant to. You can't. It's so heavily science-based jargon that you really can't make heads or tails of it. I would say, you get the vague impression that the purpose of something here is to combine minerals of some sort to create another mineral. It looks to you like the first word that pops up in your head is alchemy.
Sure. So this is the fuel making thing. So I will find a different computer that's not attached to all these eggs and cylinders and things and try to find a different one and see if it does something different.
It seems to be more of the same heavy scientific jargon about like chemistry that you can't quite make heads or tails of.
Okay.
And all the computers that are sort of like freestanding like that are similar. But you do see that there are miniature. There's one that's actually sitting on a table with all of the lab equipment that is actually appears to be a portable. Where is it here? Sorry, give me 1 second to make sure I'm getting the right thing. Oh no, never mind. That was a 3000 data recorder. Oh yeah, never mind. It's the opposite of portable. So there is that the one that's the black egg that's on top of the tripod. That's the Nucoder 3000. You find something that's even bigger. This is a it looks to be a desktop unit that's about 4 foot square, and it's hooded. So if you kind of picture like high tech desktop unit computer, but it has like the hood of like one of those old timey cameras that you had to like step underneath.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Somebody's a photography editor.
And you can see that on that device there is a similar like little like trademark plaque on it, and it says Nucoder. It's got like a brand, swoop or something like that, logo swoop. Nucoder 5000 full immersion sensory experience.
Ooh, Ted, go in there.
Yeah.
That's the laser light show, man. You got to do it.
Yeah, dude.
Well, yeah. Okay. Yep. I'm going to put my head under the hood.
Okay.
And I assume there's a computer control of some sort in there. Or I can touch the screen, something like that. And
yeah. So there is, and whenever you kind of hit the thing, the only thing that pops up on the screen is a translated glyph that says "Insert data crystal."
Oh, data crystal.
Are there any crystals like on the desk with him?
Are there any?
Doesn't appear to be. You can see when you're looking at the device itself underneath the hood that there appears to be numerous slots for that look like round slots that you would kind of insert like a rod in or something like that. And when you look around, you do see that there are a few other devices that require that. The other thing that you see in common on a lot of these devices is what appears to be, especially on like the vehicles, some of the chemical machines, like the larger mechanical machines, is that they're hooked up via a cord to a 3 foot tall white plasteel cylinder that has a flat panel on it that has a number, a glyph, a Radishva glyph that's a number in an LED light, and that number is a percentage.
That's the battery.
Batteries.
Yeah.
Does this? So this one turned on. The slot where I'm guessing the data crystal goes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it in size and shape? You said it's like a round cylindrical hole, or more like a coin insert sort of thing.
More like a round cylindrical hole. Yeah, a round hole.
All right. I need to dig around and look for some.
They're about
data crystals, I guess.
The opening appears to be about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. So
smaller than any of the rods we've found. It's not the blue eyes.
It says crystal though, too, Ted.
What's that?
It said crystal.
What are the rest of you guys doing in the corridor?
Gold rod and stuff like that would not be a thing.
Oh, well, I'm
brainstorming.
Yeah.
But
what are the rest of you guys doing?
in the hallway?
I'm just checking the rest of you guys.
Yeah, so I want to loot that body, John. I want to.
Yeah, we're gonna pull it.
Okay.
We'll take it a good 30 feet down the corridor and stuff like that. So, can I tell how long he's been dead? Is he like fresh? I just got out of cryo and got zapped by the death bot, or is he like been lying there for like 1,000 years?
He's been lying there for like 1,000 years. Yeah, like very long. Again, just
what's he got on him?
Last time he was 7 foot tall, spindly limbed, hairless with 2 small horns, dark brown, nut brown skin, 3 fingers and a thumb on each hand. He's wearing an orange jumpsuit, which has a webbed belt, and he has you wouldn't call them this, but he has cybernetic implants behind his right temple. Is what you kind of see when you're looking at the body.
Before we go any further, sorry, David, I just want to interrupt real quick. Can I go to Laryl's sack and get myself a really cool eye patch and throw it over that mechanical eye that Kerbal Khan gave me?
It would look really odd because what's the purpose of the eye patch?
I'm worried that Kerbal Khan is like, spying on us through the eyeball.
Oh, okay. If you can do it. It just looks like really stupid because like that's like a piece of thing that kind of comes out of your head. You know what I mean? So it's like
we'll give you like a cloth. You can just wrap a cloth around. Yeah. We can do that.
That's fine.
Okay.
Call me paranoid.
No,
that was watching you.
I'd forgotten about that. That was smart. I'd like to chop his hand off and put it in my bag.
I want to see.
You probably just like snap it. It can't be that.
I just don't know. I agree, but I just don't know if. Oh, you mean the fingers? Doesn't matter. I just want to chop the hand off. Yeah.
Okay, you chop the hand off.
In case we need a
touch interface. Is that a slot, John? Would you say the hand is a slot?
I would say it's a slot, actually. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, there you go. I want to take I mean, not to get weird, but I want to unzip the jumpsuit and I want to check like for pockets and like storage things, especially like on the inside, maybe underneath the jumpsuit.
This is super important too. Now that you're doing this, Wolford, is that and I mentioned this last time, but he's riddled with projectile holes. Like, and so is his jumpsuit, just like all over him. Pretty obvious how he died. So
I thought you were going to say he was covered in nipples.
Oh God! What? Like, where did that come from? Okay, yeah.
When you search the body, Wolford, you find 2 things. One is what I thought I was going to tell Ted about, but is actually on him. This is a portable 3-inch by 5-inch screen of black. It looks nothing so much as like an iPad Mini. Put it that way. Okay, and it has, instead of the Apple logo, it has Mort's wearing the thing.
Yeah,
Mort has the thing.
So there's a glyph on it. In addition,
right back.
You pull out of one of his pockets a 2-inch long, 3/4 of an inch diameter rod, and it's made out of crystal. And on either end of that rod, on the flat ends of it, basically, there is a glyph. I'm sorry. On one end, there is a glyph.
Okay. Yeah, I think.
And that is in. You find that actually, I should say, it wasn't. You would have had to open up a container. There is a gray plasteel container that is marked with the same glyph that is on the end of the crystal that is within that container.
So I find a container with that glyph on it. I open it up, and the crystal rod's inside.
Yeah,
with
so
that
it's almost
same
like a little test tube, but made out of gray plasteel.
Yeah.
And you pop it, and then like the crystal just sort of slides out, and the glyphs match
Okay.
up.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to want to have my buddy who's in that room come take a look at these things. I'll call out to Mort. Hey, there are a few interesting things on this dead guy. You might want to take a look. I don't know if they'll help you.
The bot immediately like kind of turns towards you, and like the scanning thing, and like a dot appears on your forehead again.
I hate that dot. I don't know what it means, but I don't get a good feeling about it. He'll.
So Mort, hearing that, will get out from under the hood and move back to the entrance. Although he's curious about seeing the backside of the drone, and maybe that's where the off switch is. But he'll come back to the entrance to the hangar so that Wolford can show him something.
Okay, I'm gonna say 2 turns have passed from you kind of rooting around in the tech, and Wolford futzing around with the Radishva.
So if he sees, if Wolford holds up the crystal, he knows what he's looking for. He could go back and try and find some of those. But since he's already gone over there and come back, what does he see on the west end of the room?
So the west end of the room doesn't have much. It's all the equipment seems to be on the eastern side. However, there are small bits of debris which you can only assume come from. Well, actually, let me double check. Which one of the ships is wonky? Yeah, it is that one. So the further west ship is the one that's been dismantled, basically. And there are some pieces that are sort of scattered around, but it looks like most of it has been cannibalized. So this area on the west is pretty much cleaned up.
Okay.
Even with it, with a lack of knowledge of what exactly this thing is, you can tell that it's been heavily scavenged for parts.
Okay. So did I see anything on the drone that would suggest how to turn it off to me?
No, you do not. No.
Did I see like a battery logo that says he's down to 2%?
Unfortunately not, but you can see that the thing has been heavily damaged from heat.
Do I see? So I saw some of the like what I'm guessing are fuel sources for machines, and they're like a cable, and it's some sort of gradient type of thing on there. Do I see similar hookups on the drone for it to hook up and plug and charge its energy somehow?
No, you do not.
A Roomba charging station?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any faint yellow glow emanating from any part of the robot that might recall our fuel sources here?
No, unfortunately not.
Yeah. All right. So I'm at the western end. I'm going to go to the southern wall of the room. And then following along the wall, I'll go over to the hangar door.
Okay, so you're going all the way around to the... Okay. So, the hangar door. This is a huge plasteel door.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's not iris. It looks like it's like a garage door, basically, like it would rise up.
I assume there's a control panel somewhere.
You do not see a control panel on the wall.
Okay. All right. So like I'm right in the middle of the door. I turn around and there's one of the shuttles. It's got a little smiley face and everything.
Yeah. Now that one is complete, basically, is good to go.
Ted, look up and see if you see like any kind of thing that would look like a camera or anything like that would indicate when the door needs to be opened. I mean, most likely the controls are inside the shuttles, right?
That's what I'm guessing. Yeah. Is there anything on the ceiling?
Doesn't appear to be. It's about 25 feet tall at its height. At its center point, it's a dome. When you do turn around to look at the shuttle, though, a couple things that you note. it's first of all that it was it looks like it was designed to resemble a creature. In fact, when you're facing it from the front end at this point, you actually sort of mistake it for like a you do a double take because it looks like a mythological beast of some sort, like, almost like a dragon. It's about 20 feet wide at its widest, 50 feet long, and 20 feet tall. And there are plasteel decorations along the roof that resembled nothing so much as horns and flowing whiskers. And the view screen, like the main screen that if you were inside you would be looking out of, looks to be in place of what would be the creature's gritted teeth, right?
Oh.
So it looks nothing so much as like almost like a Chinese dragon is what it sort of looked. It was what it's been painted and outfitted to look like. And the whole thing is painted in extremely vibrant colors. The wings that are on the sides have been retracted, right? So they're kind of folded in. Yeah.
And the obvious doorways.
Yeah, so the doorway you can all see, actually. You saw this the first time you were there, too. At least Mort and Elizabeth did. There appears to be an airlock door that is on the very rear of the plane, like in the center between the two engines.
Seems like an odd placement.
Can we tell if it's open or closed? Sorry.
What's that? Huh?
The door in the back, is it open or is it closed?
It's closed.
Okay.
Sorry to go back to the corpse.
No, good idea.
It has eyes. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to pluck the eyes out.
Okay, weirdo. Sure. And then back to the shuttle. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd be like dry.
David, the body is 1,000 years old. What kind of condition are those eyeballs?
Don't lead the witness. Don't lead the witness. Just I asked if there were eyes. I'm plucking them out if there are. Sure. Maybe this alien physiology. Anyway.
Physiognomy?
Yes.
I should note that the busted up shuttle, the one that's been scavenged, the airlock looks to have been completely removed.
Ooh.
From that one.
Could you get in? Could a little goblin get in there?
It sure looks like it. Looks like anyone could get in there.
All right. No. So there's no obvious control panel on the door. The front of the shuttle looks like a dragon. I wonder. So you guys know I've been kind of, I want to fly the shuttle around and kill a dragon, but for some reason, and I don't know why I'm thinking this, but maybe it's because we're on this Trials of Arden level. I just feel like I'm going to find Arden inside the shuttle. That this is the last dragon that she went to fight or something like that, and this is where she disappeared. The drone got her. I don't know. Crazy, but that just jumped in my head. So Mort wants to. I think I should complete the circuit around the southern wall to the eastern wall and come back towards the entrance to the hangar. And as I'm coming, if I don't see anything new or noteworthy as I make that circuit, I'll end up at the back door to the shuttle.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of wonders and stuff like that, but nothing that I haven't already described.
Right. Here's a question for you guys, or for you, Ted, and for the rest of you guys. Should we pick up? I don't know. Like, we may have to at some point do some bargaining with Kerbal Khan. I don't know if we're going to have to, maybe not. But are there any small pieces of tech that Mort could just grab and take with him that we might be able to use as some kind of like bargaining chip later on if we decide that we need that?
We could also give the whole body of a Rhodesian if David stops snapping pieces off of it.
Do you or do you not want to get through the eye scanning fingerprinting panel of that locked spaceship, Mike?
I know what you're cooking. I
know you do.
Well, I'm going to guess that the back door uses one of these multi-passes, and that's what I'm going to try next.
Okay, so it takes a turn to complete the circuit. That would end the haste. Is there anything that during that last turn that while Mort is circling around that you guys wanted to do to take advantage of that last turn of haste before it goes away?
It's hard to imagine. We're kind of locked in there, But I'm curious, like with all we can really see, like, we'll see like little scattering goblin every once in a while, but how is the robot just staying locked in position 15 feet away from the door, locked on us? And if we get, any closer than like that 30 feet, like if we step into the 30 feet, like when does he, give us our little laser dot?
Like if an organic being steps past like the threshold of that door, it's going to go ape shit. And it is aware that organic beings are beyond that threshold and is keeping a good eye on them because it senses a potential threat.
Okay, I have a question. I can't recall. Sorry. Who brought the rug with them?
Wolford has it.
Can I borrow the rug?
Sure. What are you going to do with it? Don't give it to the robot.
I'm going to go talk to Sam and ask for a golden net because that's who has the golden net.
Smart.
Sound good? I don't want to like take a lot of screen time for it. Is there anything else y'all want me to snag while I bounce there and back?
Why don't you make sure you get that book that teaches us how to read these glyphs?
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I mean, just in case we lose the hat of smartness, why don't we just read a book and get smart ourselves?
Get that 40 megawatt plasma rifle too while you're there.
So Wolford will unroll the rug out for you. And
teleporting doesn't take any time, but finding Samantha, going to the stash, blah blah blah, that whole thing. I'm going to say takes up the turn that Mort is doing. Circumnavigating the hangar. So by the time you get back, Mort is in position behind the two shuttles again. Basically, we're back where we started.
Okay.
So
does the airlock have a visible thing like we saw in the hallway for the card?
For the shuttle?
The shuttle, yeah, the airlock.
Let's see.
Or does the shuttle have any writing on it?
There is a panel there. Yes.
Okay. He will hold the card to the panel like he did to the Iris store.
Beep, beep, beep. Shink. And you see beyond there is a corridor, 10 foot long by 5 foot wide corridor made of plasteel, very much the interior of a spaceship.
Wouldn't it be great if you opened the door and it was like, whoop, whoop?
Mort is going to step into the corridor. It will be
pink. A bunch of lights come on.
One small step for a goblin, one giant leap for goblin kind.
Okay. You step in, a bunch of lights come on. You can see basically that that there is the shuttle is divided into basically two sections. The first one that you encounter is what appears to be an engineering and science station. There are 4 crew seats there. It looks, you can even tell, despite the fact you have no concept of technology, that this section has been clearly modified heavily from what its original intent was, because you can see that where consoles used to be were obviously ripped out bodily, and new equipment has been jury-rigged into that area. Like there's new equipment that obviously doesn't fit into like the slots where things were taken out. Do you understand what I mean? So things are kind of haphazardly sort of put in a jury-rigged fashion, but in a very skilled fashion. One of the new components appears to be 2 large fuel tanks. Okay. They both proudly bear Rudishva glyphs on each of them. One says fuel, just like the ones the much larger ones in the bay, and the other glyph says star. Okay. There is also a second new component, which is a pair of cylindrical holes, which looks like canisters can be inserted, but they're much larger cylindrical holes than like a data crystal one. Okay. The runes beneath them read orange, rock, and compound. The third new component that has been jury-rigged into place in this station, again, not what the original intent was for the shuttle, is a 5-foot cylinder with a cylindrical slot at one end of it. Okay. The
Does
second
anything look
area,
like
sorry, go ahead.
do any of these things look like the golden rod would conform to them?
No. The second
Okay.
area beyond is the astrogation and command section. There are 6 stations for crew members. One obviously looks to be like where someone of authority would sit. And there are a number of different stations with like pairs of seats to kind of together. Each of those stations has a console with slides, knobs, buttons, and view screens, similar to what you saw in the cryo chamber. The important chair also seems to have slots that are 3/4 in diameter. No, I'm sorry, a little bit larger. Yeah. So, and then you could see like the view screen is basically like in front of you at that front. So it's just a single corridor. You know, the first station is engineering science with all this jury rig shit, and then there's like the cockpit in the front with a bunch more chairs. Okay, and you're just you're just like this little goblin wearing armor, like looking around, going, "What the fuck is this? This is like crazy." And as you gaze and wonder upon it, we must take our first break. So why don't we do that real quick? We will be right back. All right, we're back. Bladder's empty, beer's full. What do we do?
A lot of peril around here, John. A lot of peril. All right, Mort is going to. Well, first of all, I think I just want to say Orange Rock Compound makes me think that the Arcanum is not alien, that it was here. They found it and they're using it to refine into fuel.
It's a mining deal.
Which is kind of cool. I sort of thought maybe it was, they had brought it with them. It came from I remember we talked about it at one point, but now it looks like it was already here.
Perhaps they were stranded and needed to fuel to leave. And were refining as much as they could to do so.
Yep.
I'm thinking it's those prisoners. Remember, like that whole thing, they seem to be prisoners. Maybe some of those prisoners are up and about. They tried to rig, maybe this guy's one of them, tried to rig the ship so that they could escape.
Yeah. Well, some of the pods were empty. And I bet if we went back and cross-checked, we'd find your desiccated corpse is one of the missing dudes. He didn't have any glyphs on his uniform or something, did he?
ID badge?
Yes, actually, I think there would probably be a patch on him.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I get this right.
Ash, interesting.
So there is there's a patch on him, but again, Mort, you can't see it. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
One thing I'll say too before we continue is, there may be other things that we need here.
Yeah.
At that other location.
Oh yeah. And
well,
vice versa.
We definitely have to see what's on this, data crystal that we found on him, right? But also, I think, are we going to take his whole body, or are we? Because we could just take that jumpsuit off. That jumpsuit might have some value in and of itself. But if we're going to drag the whole body, then we might want to just leave it on him to keep it kind of together.
I mean, David seems kind of into the body part, so maybe keep.
Well, that's David.
I think. Listen, I took what I needed there, but I think the jumpsuit's smart, including. Yeah. I don't know. This is like a wild possibility, but let's say we awake someone from that canister and need to have a ruse involving wearing a jumpsuit and illusion magic. I don't know, right? Like, I think it's a valuable asset to have.
Yep. So John, I'm in the hallway. I've looked at a bunch of cylinders. I've looked at a bunch of consoles. Mm-hmm. Do I see any data crystals around?
You do not know.
Are there any drawers or cabinets I could open to look for something like that?
There are a few, but you don't see anything of use in them.
Oh, flip down the window shade and see if there's a key underneath.
Oh, great idea. Yeah.
The keys fall down. Yeah.
But I am interested. So I'm in a 5-foot wide corridor in a 20-foot wide ship. Are there doors?
I'll be frank with you. I don't know like how everything measures up, but everything of interest in the shuttle I've described to you.
Okay. All right. In that case,
okay.
I'm going to sit in the cool chair.
Okay. Yeah. Nothing happens when you sit in the cool chair, but it is fairly obvious that this is the best seat in the house.
It is the best.
It almost has like a commanding view of everything else in the shuttle.
And does the seat have like any control panel in front of it, or on the arms, or around it, or
Yes.
anything, or is it just a chair?
It has slots in the arm that looks like crystals of a slightly larger size than data crystals. Can be maybe not even crystals, who knows? But they're like cylindrical holes that things can be inserted.
Right.
I think we got to
There's
go
no-
kill Kerbal Khan.
Yeah, no doubt. Screens or buttons or anything that he can wake up and make it do something.
It has a console. Similar to like it has a similar console to what the other stations have. They have multiple seats. This is obviously the pilot's chair. The pilot also has like a console of their own with knobs and buttons and a view screen and all that sort of stuff.
I want to see if I can wake up a screen here at this chair.
It kind of opens up. There just appears to be a bunch of like gobbledygook of stuff that you can't quite understand, like checking systems and commands and fuel levels and all that kind of stuff. It's very difficult to sort of gauge.
Do I see any words that say things like defense or protection or guard or anything like that?
No, you do not actually. It's mostly like there's areas for like sensor array for sensors. There's for atmospheric pressure. There's altitude. There's things like that. This is where my lack of sci-fi knowledge is going to come through a lot. But
don't worry about
what it is.
Don't worry about it. Might there be, since you were looking for this, Ted, something that looks like a docking station for this droid?
I've been looking for one.
You did, okay,
but I didn't see any out in the hallway. But if there's one in here
inside the ship,
it seems fairly clear to you, Mort, because you've given
that opens the garage door.
That was my next thing I wanted to ask about. But let's do David's idea first.
So it seems fairly obvious from your exploration so far, Mort. It's very possible that it's just beyond your ken and you just don't know. But it seems pretty clear to you that this thing seems to be an autonomous unit, and that if it is controlled and can be deactivated, it would have to be done somewhere else or by a device that you have no knowledge of.
Yep. All right. If I'm looking around, do I see any words that say things like door, or entrance or exit?
Hangar.
When you're looking at the view screen of the pilot's console, there is indeed one that it says like I don't know what it would say, hangar bay door or something like that. I don't really
Okay, I see one that says something door.
Yeah.
I don't know what a hangar bay is. I'm a goblin, but I see door. Does it say open door and closed door?
There does appears to be a button that's similar to that. Yeah.
Ride the lightning, Ted. Ride the lightning, Ted.
I want to open the door.
Ted.
Okay. You hit the big green button and you look out through the view screen, and all of you back in the plasteel corridor can hear a massive noise as the echoing door, as it lifts up, and it just just the sound of it just echoes throughout this huge plasteel chamber, and it slowly opens up. Mort, you instinctively kind of put a hand up to your face because you think you're going to see light, but there's nothing but darkness beyond. You see a gaping plasteel tunnel in front of you. Some of the light from the hangar bay sort of bleeds into it, but after a second, from the far end, you just see these lights on the ceiling go tink, 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 and kind of work their way back towards the door, and they illuminate what appears to be a runway that appears to be about 30 feet wide and about 30 feet tall, sheathed in plasteel like a tube, right? And just like a flat runway that just goes straight to a massive iris door.
Ted, might I make a suggestion?
You might.
What if, hypothetically, you came back to discuss what you just saw with the rest of us? We jumped on that rug back to the Haven. You took said rug, took a little jaunt down this runway to the opposite end, dropped it, and we joined you at the opposite end of this runway.
I actually was thinking about exactly the same thing to get you into the shuttle.
Or the shuttle. Yeah. But in either case, I think you have a lot of power here to utilize the rug.
Is there another control that opens the farther door? Do I see anything like that? Like
unfortunately,
outer door
or something like that?
You see nothing.
Do I see any controls that open or close the airlock behind me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want the drone following you guys in here if you come in here for some reason.
There is specifically on your screen. There's a remote thing that closes the airlock door, and then on your side of the airlock door as well, there is another panel.
Okay.
Could close it.
Do you see anything on the shuttle that says weapon systems?
No.
Okay.
I have maybe a thought, because we don't know what this thing's range is, but we do know something. It stays literally focused on living creatures that are in this hallway.
Right.
If we want to like leapfrog it with the rug and maybe go like teleport down into that runway far away from it.
Yeah.
What we could do, we could pull a creature out of the sack, or maybe even talk to Steve. Do you still have Steve with you? Didn't you have a bag full of cats?
Are you going to sacrifice Steve to test the drone's range?
No. What I'm going to do is, if we just get a creature or some creatures to stay where we are right now, it will stay focused on those creatures the same way it stayed focused on us. It'll lock in on these things that are trying to get in, and then we can teleport behind it down into the runway, and it will never know because it's still focused on these living things.
Love it.
I love that. But now that Ted knows to look for the crystals, maybe another search of the outer area specifically for crystals, or popping open some of those crates that might have firearms in it or something else cool, could solve our robot problems in a different way.
I agree. And I also want to throw something out there, which is a little stranger, which is that if this rug is rolled up, it can get through small spaces.
Mm-hmm.
There is a sealed ship. Ships have valves. They have harder and softer materials. They have, engines, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It may be worth, from the inside, looking for vulnerabilities, looking for materials that are familiar to us beyond plasteel, et cetera, right? Which is to say that if we could bore a hole, or if we could get a rug inside the secure ship, we could teleport in, but that requires being able to get a rug inside.
I'm inside the ship.
I'm talking about the other ship.
The
other
ship
is not secure. The other ship is scrap parts.
Oh,
yeah, you can just walk in there.
I'm an idiot. You walked into the secure ship.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
I mean, there's another thing that I really think that we should do before we start doing any crazy stuff that could set the robot off to attack us.
Right.
If we have a data crystal, a place that will read what's on the data crystal and give you like a psychedelic laser show. Come do that and read that first. Maybe there's something in there that we'll be able to do that's helpful.
A turn went by while Mort futzed around the ship.
Okay. So Mort's going to give the room another once over, looking for any kind of like clues or interesting facts, like the weapons controls or more door controls, or, he spots a glyph that says on, or whatever. And then he's going to go back out the back of the ship and go over to the big pile of tech that we looked at earlier. As per, Lothar shouting stuff into the room. If there's crates, he can open some crates. Looking for data crystals and or, Gauss rifles. And then if he doesn't turn anything up that looks immediately useful or practical, I want to check and see whether the egg can be dragged, or if the legs are on wheels or something. Like, could he bring the whole New Coder 3000? Actually, no, I don't want to move it yet, but I just want to check and see if it's movable.
The New Coder, the full immersion one, the 5000. With a hood?
Well, I got the sense that's 4 feet wide and sits on a desk and is not something he can move. Is that correct?
No, it's a lot tougher. Yeah.
But I felt like the egg with legs might be movable.
Oh yeah, it's on a
Okay.
tripod, and it folds up
Right.
like a normal tripod too.
So I want to see if I can find a control screen on that. Well, actually, before we do that, the other things that I said, anything? Are there crates to open? Are there boxes to look in?
There are a few, yeah. So in the crates and stuff like that, it's mostly like, they don't detail it here, but it's you can assume it to be high tech chemical laboratory sort of equipment, right? So it's
Okay.
you see there's at least like 150 pounds of what appears to be crushed arcanum in some of those storage eggs. Okay, so it's like it's crushed, right? Like in fine minerals, and then there's also about 10 pounds of what appears to be rare minerals that you can't make heads nor tails of, but you've never seen them before in some of the other eggs as well. You can tell that when you take some time to really look in that pile, that there are 4 machines, which you get the vague idea because you kind of stick your head into them and kind of see that they have like this sort of like a round drum in the inside of them, that they appear to be something that you put something in them, and then the inside drum probably moves at an extremely rapid pace in rotation.
Yeah. So this is for refining uranium. And I probably just exposed myself to some horrible minerals that are going to kill me.
One
magic powers.
One appears to be something that's about your height, like a plasteel, what you would think to be a crate, and it has like a handle on the front, and you open the door, and there's like a blast of like cold air kind of comes out, and you're like, oh, what magic is this? You know, it's got like racks in it, you know, with like some vials and things like, it's a refrigerator. But
Nothing to eat.
You're like, whoa.
Hey, a refrigerator is pretty good for a safe haven that we're going to build in here.
Oh shit, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Mini fridge.
I also just I'll throw it out there again. Don't forget, Wilfred is wearing a belt of giant strength, a lot of heavy items, including that second, VR device that you could carry.
Oh
You
yeah,
won't be able to
that's
get it
true.
to the iris, dude. You won't be able to get it to the iris.
No, but just like bear in mind that, like,
Well,
I would say
unless
that Wolford could probably move any of these items single-handedly, except for one of the massive cylinders of rocket fuel, and even that he could probably, with the help of someone else, like drag it across the ground.
Okay.
not that we
now-
need to do that now, but it's good to
Right.
know. I
To
think.
sum up, you don't find anything that you were specifically looking for, Ted. But I will say that all this stuff that I haven't detailed, what are unique things, everything else combined, is a very high-tech chemical laboratory. If Upior got a bead on it, you could easily see, like, I could repurpose all of this for magical experimentation. You know, it's like the highest end sort of stuff that you could use to experiment with. And in addition, one thing that you kind of pick up from taking your time, I am going to say that it takes another 2 turns if you're cool with that to get a thorough look. Is that all right?
Yeah.
That taken in total, all of the equipment that appears to be sort of set up here on the east side, it all looks like it wasn't meant to be here originally. None of this stuff looks like that it belongs in the hangar bay. Like, you don't refine minerals inside of a hangar bay, right? It's rather odd, and like everything's sort of been jacked into power supplies. Those cylinders that you guessed correctly, that seem to have been dragged in from somewhere else. It's just everything's sort of haphazardly sort of staged here.
My suspicion on that account is that, as we were talking about before, whether they were prisoners trying to escape or whatever, the discord that occurred politically on these floors, right, created a scenario where there may have been some allyship between the aliens and persons of power institutions here.
Yeah.
And they may have had a refinement process that was in a more appropriate location. And when things really shit really hit the fan, they fled here as a last ditch thing. What I'll also say, and I could be wrong, what I'll also say is,
how'd they get in here with these huge things?
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Well, they could come in. They could have come in through the runway entrance, presumably. but they probably couldn't have brought all these huge tubes and hanger gear through those little rock tunnels that we got in here through. So maybe there's another entrance.
Maybe they had a magical rug.
Well, here's what I'm thinking, and this is based on the guys that we fought last time, like the invisible rock guys. Like they really seem to be kind of earthworming it around here, right? Yeah. Like they're digging through all this rock looking for crystals or whatever it is that they were eating. Another question about that. But it seems like in their random like digging around, they found this plasteel tube and stopped. Right. So I think that this area was isolated. I bet that Ted's onto something. I bet there's probably another entrance.
You guys are totally onto something, and it's totally my fault.
Yeah.
I just realized this while you were both talking. I am a complete idiot. You would have noticed it the moment that you headed towards the east, Ted. This answers a lot of your questions, both you and Matt. I'm such a fucking moron. I've been staring at the Miro map rather than the actual map, which I should be staring at to give me the answers. There is another iris door. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. It is 20 feet to the east of the existing one. And it is fully shut, does not appear to be scorched or damaged in any sort of way. There is a panel next to it.
Well, I think you should definitely go in there. I don't want to pause this moment of grandeur. I do want to ask one thing because now's the time, I think. You alluded to Upior maybe having an idea of what these what a magical use for these sort of refinement processes were. But I want to call out that in Plunger Town, we found Isocrides' lab, presumably. And big if, having a knowledge of like a different, albeit more ancient refinement process is useful via analogy. I think that's like something I want to make sure that we are communicating when he gets back to me. We're communicating if it gives us additional information or whatnot, right? And intuiting what they might have been doing beyond, the obvious, or how to use it beyond the obvious. So I'll just throw that out there. But
I want to ask though, so John, these big cylinders, these refining things, they look like they're too big to go through these iris doors, correct?
No, they do look like they would be like just fits sort of thing.
If they were empty, you could put them in through lengthwise kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
I mean, you got to angle the couch just right to get it through.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
So there's one more thing we should be looking for, I think. I mean, you should go look in that other iris store. But which is I don't know what use it is to us, but if the theory that there's corroboration, right, that there's a collaboration between
lost John for a second.
I'm still here.
He's still here.
Okay.
If the theory is that there is interaction between one or two or multiple peoples here, it would be very valuable for us to get confirmation via not just indications of alien technology, but like Arcantian, right? Like, anything that might show like, oh, they hoisted the cylinders in here via, very medieval means, or, like things that aren't like, high tech things. Like they rolled them on logs, right? Like Egyptian sort of like architectural, infrastructural methodology is really important, I think, in us understanding who might have actually been on Team Alien. You know what I mean? And so I would just put that out there. Yeah.
All right. So Ted, go to that other door. Let's unravel this mystery.
Please don't do that. Don't do that yet. Please. I'm desperate about something.
I'm doing it.
There's a lot of speculation about how this stuff got in here. We have a data crystal. Like we have the thing that plugs into the thing that'll tell us a story.
Yes. So here's what I wanted to do. And I'm going to do that still before I go to the door. Is I was looking at the egg. And I wanted to see if there were any controls or like a screen on it that I could turn it on. And I probably know what the word recorder means. Maybe in our continent it translates as autonomous scribe or something. I don't know. But I want to see if it has a playback feature, or if only the other one does, the bigger one. And if I could take this over to everybody, and we could play it back. Everyone could see it all at once, kind of thing.
Yeah. So, let's see. At the back, there are a set of buttons and pads. You can definitely see that there is a slot for a data crystal.
Yeah.
Are you going to attempt to like sort of touch things?
I'm touching the screen. Yeah.
Okay. So you can see that there are different menus for playback. But there's also, in addition, there's ones that say record, modify, and edit as well.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to try and wheel this thing over to the first Iris door.
Okay. Yeah. You have to kind of pick it up, but yeah, that's fine. You can pick it up.
Also,
okay.
Also, just to clarify, my understanding was all of these slots were empty, but if there's an eject button on any of these things, you know what I mean? Like there might be a crystal in one of the various like is the slot a gaping thing, or is it like a CD thing where there's like a
I'll tell you if there's a crystal in there. It's
okay. Cool.
So if I pick the egg with legs up and kind of haul it with me over to the other Iris door, will it fit through? Could I kind of hand it in?
Yeah, if you fold up the legs, you could probably do so. Yeah.
Fold up the legs, and yeah. And does the droid freak out?
The droid is watching you carefully.
Right. Okay. He doesn't seem to care if I'm stealing his egg, as long as I'm not an unauthorized intruder.
Yeah. You can see too that this device, because it's a little bit smaller than the very large machines, this appears to be powered by a 1-inch diameter orange colored battery of some sort. It's like a dish shaped. You remember like those old those little mini discs, mini CDs, little tiny ones. They were what, like about
Sony
2-3 inches?
2.5 inches.
2.5 inches. Yeah, this is like a 1-inch one, but like it looks just like that though. But they're orange colored. Okay.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I can get this in with the guys, and we can put the data crystal in, we can all see what's going on.
Wolford will take it from the other side, careful not to pass the barrier of doom.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could let them do it, and I can go back and do something else or whatever, But time doesn't really seem to be an issue for us right this minute. So I say we all do it. Let's look and see what the data crystal has to say.
Okay. So you what do you do? You put the
if Wolford's got a crystal, you should put it in.
Yeah. Okay. And he looks and does it fit the same way both ways, or does the glyph part naturally seem to kind of go in, or is that like the outer part that sticks out?
It looks like it's like that. That's like the outer part.
Okay, so he holds it by the glyph part and shoves it into the hole.
Oh, what does the glyph say before he does that?
That's what I was. Okay. So you you just kind of hold it up, Wolford, near the door, and Mort.
Yeah, look what I found.
Yeah. Okay. So this glyph says, and it says a lot actually, even though it's a single glyph. It says solutions to the propulsion problem.
No, that's super interesting.
Okay.
And then you insert it. When you insert it into the new coder 3000, you can feel it sort of ratchet into place. Like you could tell like it was meant to sort of be there. Okay.
CD tray loads.
And then the view screen sort of changes in some sort of manner, and a whole bunch of different glyphic signs sort of show up. I can
just read them out loud as they come up as I'm comprehending them, so we can all understand it.
Right. So I guess what I'm picturing here is that you basically set up the new coder right on the other side of the Iris door, and Mort sort of peering in, right? Because how else were you going to
come into the hallway?
I sort of thought I was going to leave the hangar and go be with everybody else.
You're just going to go back into the corridor?
I mean, I have the badge. I can go back.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. Just making sure.
So I go through the door. We got the egg. We're all together. We can decide what to do next. We can do the rug thing, for example. So I'm going to come out of the hangar. We're all together.
Sure. Okay, got it. No problem. All right. So the menu screens basically more give you options for playback. Basically, it says like play, pause, fast forward, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I want to Play.
Okay, so you hit play. Okay. The camera on the front of the new coder emits a bluish white light that sort of and then like a cone sort of expands outward from the camera to about 4 feet in front of the new coder, and forms an image that sort of forms like a 3D printer from like the ground up, and forms a holographic image of a Rudishva, smaller than what is before you, but it appears to be like a smaller representation, right? And you're absolutely stunned because this looks like the highest magic to you, right? It's very much help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope, right?
I stab it.
Yeah, I smash it in fear, and
your hands pass right through it amazingly, and the being seems to take no notice. But when you finally reconcile yourself that you're seeing a representation of something, something that is not real, an illusion of the highest order, you kind of look over at the body. You look at this Rudishva that's sort of standing there in bluish white haze, and you look over at the body, and you're like, I think this is the same dude. No, I'm sorry. You think it's of the same species, but not the exact same person. There is words in glyphic that sort of appear above the figure, that sort of kind of appear in the holographic image, and it says chemical engineer Fekprail, FEK-PRAIL.
PRAIL. Fekprail. Chemical engineer Fekprail. Okay.
Yeah. And then
that's a terrible name.
The Rudishva that is in the image appears to be have his hands behind his back and is walking around in sort of like a ruminative sort of way, like he's sort of like expounding upon things that he's sort of thinking of. He's oftentimes strokes his chin and sort of waves his hands around as he speaks. Okay, and this is what he says in Rudishvan glyphic, the language of Rudishva. So he says, the breakthrough we have awaited all these decades, namely the transformation of the Loav's short-range pulse engines into a time dilation-capable warp drive. The solution involves slow and careful centrifuging of the essential element found in that orange rock-like substance found in these caves. Once separated, it must be combined at high heat in a solution with deuterium-2 in standard propellant. I have provided the specific formula here. And he indicates in random space, like with his finger, and you can see like a whole series of like graphs and mathematical formulas sort of appear in the air. And on the new coder itself, there is a button that pops up that says like download attachment, something similar to that. Okay. He continues on. As you know, our final success will be mitigated by the issue of space. Given the modifications we have had to make, the Loav is now only capable of supporting a crew of 10 for interstellar travel. We, in the scientific arm of the RISEA, do not envy you your difficult decision in this respect. We trust that you will make the appropriate selections in an honorable and useful way. Proper credit must be given to the team led by Spiv Cole, whose impressive work in the most unappealing environment procured a suitable supply of minerals from which we were able to synthesize the deuterium needed for our formula. Other essential retrofit work is complete on Loav 291, and the vessel is now fully adapted for space flight, a major feat of engineering given its former designation as an atmospheric vehicle. It should be a simple matter to use our teleportation network to access the other separated nodes of the shining beacon and collect the last remaining pieces necessary for activation. Those being a drive rod from the engine room, canisters of our breakthrough deuterium helium-3 for FTL jumps. Ask chemical engineer Fekprail for the latest batch of centrifuge material. He's usually in the bridge crew's bastion module. Astrogation crystals to set a course to desired star system. The bridge, of course, has many of these. And fuel for the initial launch and atmospheric ascent. Plenty of this can be found in the hangar. A command tablet, will facilitate all functions and provide the means for more advanced astrogation, communications, and higher security interactions with Akla Cha. It might be worth asking Captain Lael Jor to borrow it for a last-minute testing, and perhaps ask what his plans are, if any, for transferring Akla Cha from the beacon to the Loav. And it blinks out.
You think that last one is the regalia?
Yes,
For
Oh,
sure.
yeah, absolutely.
100%. Next quest, we have to find Miles O'Brien. It's the only important quest we have here, by the way. I'm ditching everything else for Miles.
I mean, that was a pretty fantastic checkoff right there, John.
Yeah.
I should have said
Rhodesians are
Wessel
Russian, who
instead of
knew?
Vessel.
Wessel.
I want to do an FTL jump so bad. Let's go.
The badge, by the way, Mort, on the corpse says Lieutenant.
Mini, yeah.
Lieutenant. Actually, you probably wouldn't be able to determine it says Lieutenant because it would probably be some sort of colored indicator, for rank. But there is a name on it that says Svar Loj, SVAR-LOJ.
That wasn't the name that the hologram just told us, was it?
No.
The one who's usually okay.
That was Spiv Cole and Feck Prail.
Just a reminder for everyone, Kerbal Khan. Kerbal Khan.
Yeah. I'm more interested in the beacon because we've run across the beacon a few other times. Beacon shall be revealed to those who bring midday life to the sun, moon, and stars. That's on the Ankh up on the surface. And then I wish I had taken better notes. When we went to see Wick Trimmer, I have, he's a notorious Imperial Goblin, long robes and slippers, businesslike. And then I wrote the beacon, and I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
Ain't that just the way?
It made sense at the time.
Okay, so and the name of the piece of the regalia is the Tablet of the Beacon. I mean, the beacon is obviously the name of like the crashed mothership that's nearby. We also have, now that we have this pass, also we can maybe get farther in that first spaceship, that first node of the spaceship that we found.
Yeah.
You also know, too, that the 5 fingers of destiny were actively looking for more of those silver Ankh keys and wanted to bring you in on that. But your unreasoning hatred of Roger the Rapier's voice prevented you from doing so.
What I'm being told by the GM is that we have to kill everybody. That's not my choice.
That's pretty much how I
want to
interpreted
be
that
really
as well.
clear.
That's
not
one
my
Roger
choice.
has to die so we can get all of his crystals.
Oh, Roger.
So it also sounded like, from what this guy Feck Prail was saying, is that there are multiple. We found 2, and there are more Rhodesian points of some kind throughout Arden Vul. It'd be my guess. We found a prison section. We found a hangar. Mm-hmm. There's some sort of engineering space or some other kind of command space. Perhaps that's what's behind the obsidian doors.
There's a teleportation network that they use from bopping around from place to place to place. Now, we already think that the teleportation circles are purely Arcantian, which means that there's another teleportation network somewhere here, purely for going between the Rhodesian, I'm going to mess up that name forever, Rhodesian like outposts in Arden Vul.
That's a very good instinct, Mike. So they're yes, to clarify, the teleportation circles that you've noticed were built by Arcantians. That is very, very clear. In addition, you guys have been asking me about, hey, does the holes where these data crystals go and all that kind of stuff, does it look like the golden rod would fit in there, that sort of thing? And my answer was no. But you can see now, right, that there was influence. Right, it rubbed off on the Arcantians somehow. Right.
Ew.
They had the Rhodesian guy that was advising the chief. What's his name? There was a Rhodesian like enclave that was advising the Arcantians.
Yes, correct.
That's
ahead,
the
Matt.
survivors, yeah, that's what we were saying. Like they cooperated with the survivors of the crash of the beacon.
Correct. That is excellent recall. And I was going to
That's
bring
right.
that
The
up.
beacon is the ship.
Mm-hmm.
The original ship is our theory.
Don't forget that book that you found that describes the survivors, because that was a clear indication that those were the guys. Those are the only Rudishvans that the Arcantians were interacting with, and they were so few that they knew them by name and had personality and all that kind of stuff. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you kind of have to
Yeah, that
reassess your
wasn't
timeline.
recall. I'm straight going through our notes and our reading of that. The
I
book
never
was called
take notes.
the first history of the Order of Thoth in Arden Vul, and that's where they were talking about the encounter.
We have to do our second break, but I just want to drop something real quick before we do so. In that narration that that Feck Proil gave, you were contemplating the fact that there might be other nodes of the beacon in other places in Arden Vul, because you've already been to 2 of them, right?
Right.
So when they're listing off the things that are needed for activation of the shuttle, you get the idea that there's probably somewhere called the engine room. There's probably somewhere that's the bridge, and there's something called the bastion. Right, are the 3 that you've heard in addition to him listing off the hangar as well.
Right.
Right.
All right.
So there is a massive ship somewhere underneath here. And I think we actually got to some area of it with the prison pods. And I think that they're not connected anymore. They're like,
yeah, it broke up. The ship crashed. It's in
Right,
pieces.
and
Yeah, we
yet
surmised
they
that
must
a
have been
while ago.
modular because they all still seem to be useful. So Ted, you got to go through that other door, man. Find the teleportarium.
Well, that's
All right.
about. I was about to say. I bet that other door is where I would have put the teleporter. So
we will find out what Mort does in just a moment. Let's take our second break. We will be right back. Okay, we're back once again. Bladder's empty, beer's full. Mort has his eyes on that door that I completely forgot about.
right. So I like the idea of you guys all stepping through the rug, and I take the rug with me. And I could go try the door first just to see, like on the other side, if it's just a pit of acid and rotating blades, maybe it's not the best place to take the rug.
Just grab the rug and
I'll
go.
give you the rug. Yeah.
Just grab it and go.
Okay. So I'll take no, you guys need to go through the rug to the other side first.
So you guys are going to
Hey,
all go back to you guys are all going to go back to the debouchement.
Yes.
We're all going back to the other. You can signal us using the friendship rings, and we can step through. It's no problem.
Okay. So you guys all go back to the
ma-
debouche, you party with the goblins while Mort goes off on his own.
Lone solo Mort and one rug.
So I'm taking the rug off my inventory, but I'm gonna put that orange suit in my inventory. I'm keeping
Okay,
his
yeah,
like
that is a
piloting
slot.
suit.
Yeah, and Mort, we're going to have to add the rug to your thing. It is a slot. So Mort, when your friends disappear, silence descends, and all you can hear is the whirring of that battle droid, which immediately when they all disappear, you can hear its scanning motors basically like wick off. And you have never felt so alone and small in such a large space.
True.
Oh my god! I just
Before
had an
they go,
idea.
John, I want to hand Upior. Mort had found, I don't remember where, a wand of dispel fear.
Okay.
So to make a slot for a rug, I hand that to Upior.
Yeah, I'll drop it off. Also, I just had an idea. Not to interrupt. If when we need to, we might be able to bait the droid into the large iris door and close it.
Can we and then retcon something else? Can he grab some of the arcanum from that bin and we'll try to use it to charge up the wand?
I don't think we should. We need fuel, baby. Listen, now that I know that's
They
fuel.
said that they had all the fuel that they needed, man. So I think that arcanum is just extra stuff that they were using for the refining process.
John.
I believe when I was on board the ship, I saw all the cylinders were full.
No,
Okay.
Nothing is full.
Oh,
Yes, it's the stuff in the hangar. That's the fuel.
Yes.
okay.
but
Tricky.
That's not the raw ore. They'd already processed all the fuel that they said that they needed, right?
Which is why I asked John: is that the language that they used, or they just said they had all that they did? They say like they had made all the fuel they needed, or that they had all the resources? Does that make sense?
They had all the resources.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I ain't taking
I still think it's worth
dollop.
a tiny little chunk of arcanum, dude.
Absolutely not, Mike. Come on.
well, why don't we open the iris door first? So Mort will holding up his card. He'll go back through the door into the hangar,
Yes.
shuffle along the wall 20 feet over to the other iris door, which was very strangely disguised and he didn't see.
Yeah.
And now he will look at it.
There's a panel there.
He will open the panel, or touch the card to the panel, rather.
Bleep. And the iris door opens smoothly, shink, and you can see how an iris door really should open as it fully opens up all the way, exposing a chamber, a corridor beyond that goes. He has dark vision, right?
I have dark vision, but there's light from the hangar that should be going in, right?
So a little bit of light is shining down, and you can see that it goes down a plasteel corridor for about 20 feet, continues going off into darkness, but the light kind of dies after 20 feet. It's a sheathed in. Actually, you know what? It's not in. It is not sheathed in plastic steel. It's sheathed in spotless white marble, but it does lack right angles. So in every other way, it does appear to be Rudishvan in architecture.
They probably ran out of like real building materials, so they tried to mirror it as close as possible.
They also didn't want to deal with those rock guys.
Before you go in there, make sure you look for the blowy uppy spots.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So before I step through the door, what I was going to say is I want to see if there's a door opening command panel on the other side.
There is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And does that have anything that might control any sort of lights? Are there any other buttons there?
No. It should be just an access panel.
Okay. And then I will look around for the mines and other defenses.
Gotcha. Being very, very careful, taking a turn, I assume.
Yes. Yes.
You do not see any planted mines there.
All right. I'm going to pass. Oh, actually, what's the drone doing?
The drone, I think probably at this point, it's probably making its way back to the eastern equipment pile.
I'm going to watch it for a little bit to see where it goes.
Okay. It sort of nestles itself in between, some of the machines. You can see it's pretty excellently camouflaged just because it kind of fits in with all the other junk around there.
Right.
But you can hear something like sort of power down a little bit, but there's like one of its optical eyes is just sort of blinking red.
Okay. All right. I will step through the door.
Is there?
Oh, go ahead, David.
Is there any value in testing the friendship invisibility to see if it reactivates?
The what?
The friendship brings invisibility to see if it reactivates with your presence. Is there any value
if you're invisible, if it can still see you?
If you're invisible, if it can still see you, yes. Is there any value in testing that while it's deactivated?
Well, only the issue being that I was going to use the ring to signal you guys to come through the rug.
Fair. We can do it after.
It's fine. We'll do it later. I'm going to step through the door.
Okay. Nothing happens.
Okay. And I'm going to close the iris.
Okay. Shink. You are now in
and now it should be quite dark.
Very dark corridor, yes.
Can I see enough of the corridor through dark vision to be able to move, or do I need to make a light source?
Do you not have a continual light locket?
No, there's only 3 and I don't have one.
Yeah, you can use infravision to sort of like get the vague outline of what's going on, I would say. So now that there's no light, your dark vision is working perfectly. You can see that you are in the middle of a corridor. And the corridor goes on for 10, 20, 30. It goes on for at least 60 feet. It goes off into the darkness. However, at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After 50 feet, there appears to be 2 niches on either side, on the eastern and western walls.
After 50 feet?
Right after 50 feet, yeah. Okay. And there is, in the western niche, which you're not there, I'm only just saying you're kind of seeing the outlines in your infravision. You do see that there is a slight silvery illumination coming from that niche. Very, very slight.
Okay. I'm going to cautiously and quietly approach the niches.
Okay. You move carefully up to there, and you can see that in the so at that point, you're looking into the niches, but you can see that the corridor itself ends after another 10 feet in a rounded sort of apse. The niches themselves are also rounded. Each niche is about 10 feet square.
Oh, all right.
Let me
Rounded. So like a trio of little rounded.
Yeah, like a trio, exactly. Yep. And in the western one, there is a 5-foot diameter circle directly in the middle of the floor, inset into the floor. And there is some sort of silvery material that is inset into that circle.
Okay.
On the, let's see, let me just check. Yeah. On the northern wall of that niche, there is a 10-inch by 10-inch square of that same silvery material, which is affixed to the wall at basically arm height.
Mm-hmm.
That silvery square has a rune etched into it.
Mm-hmm.
The other two niches, the northern one and the eastern one, appear to be empty. Okay.
Okay. And can I read the rune?
You can. And let me just double check here what it says. Give me one moment.
Does it look kind of like a plaque?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The rune says bastion.
Oh.
Oh, that's one of the places.
So the question is, are we in the bastion or does it go to the bastion?
Goes to the bastion. We're in the hangar.
Did he refer to the hangar in the script?
He did.
Okay.
He did.
All right. I just want I don't see any evidence of immediate danger here, right, John?
No.
Just quickly check the other two alcoves to make sure there's not something, spiders, tigers, whatever.
There's
in there.
not. They appear to be empty.
Okay. I'm going to lay the rug down and I'll step through and immediately start screaming, "They got me. The bugs are all over me." And no, I'm not really going to do that. I'm going to step down and do the ring trick once the rug is in position on the floor. And
all right. So someone goes blind on the other end.
Elizabeth does, yeah.
Okay. I can't
Or
see.
wait, she would go invisible, right? Like I think you have to go the instigator.
yeah,
whatever.
I don't remember, but it doesn't matter for our purposes here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys
So,
got
yeah,
the, you guys
she
got the
tells us all
symbol.
it's time to go. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go. He's calling us. Maybe he needs us.
Come on
Okay,
through,
don't all
boys.
jump at once in excitement.
Come on.
All right.
Wolford Ghost.
Okay. Everyone jumps back. So you are all back on the rug, and you were in a very strange place, and Mort has to
And
tell
now
you
there's
what's going
light too, like proper light.
on. Yes, you got to. That's true. Continual light. Yeah.
So, does the light reveal anything I hadn't seen before, like more graffiti on the wall or instructions on how to go to the bastion, or
No, it appears to be
Nothing.
very, very austere.
I want to
White
take
marble.
a look at that silvery. You said it was a silvery circle on the ground,
Yes.
John?
Yeah.
Is that right? I want to take a closer look at that.
Yeah, so it doesn't appear to be liquid of any sort, but it is definitely a material that none of you guys are familiar with. It appears to be. It looks like silver, and it looks like some sort of precious metal. And it's mimicked in that 10-inch square that's on the wall right next to it as well.
Filled
And
with mercury.
does the square does it look like it's set in or stuck on or raised off of it?
It's raised off. It looks like that square was affixed to the wall. However, the circle is inset into the floor.
Can I? Can I press the square?
You can, yeah. Where are you standing?
Not in the circle.
Okay, yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm standing over by the circle. Yeah.
I'll stand in the
Whoever
circle.
wants to stand in the circle, I'll press the button.
Ooh, intriguing. I must stand
So
in this
nothing seems to
power
happen.
circle.
The 10-inch square doesn't. It just appears cool to the touch. There's nothing tingles or anything like that. Upior, you don't feel anything when you step into the silvery circle at all either.
I want
Can
to
I put the
reach down
jumpsuit
and,
on? Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Sure.
I just want to reach down and touch it with my finger. Is it just smooth and reflective? Is it liquid?
Yeah, it's
What
like
is- what is it?
reflective and but it has like the look of it's not a mirror, but it's silver. It looks like silver.
Polished metal.
Polished silver.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What if I touch the access card to the square?
Nothing happens.
What if you put the hand of the dude that David lopped off his hand on the square?
Great.
Yes.
That we might have to do that.
Let's do it.
That nothing happens there either.
Can I hold? I'll hold the eyes up as well.
Nothing happens.
That's gross. Wait.
I'm going to put the jumpsuit on.
Okay. Putting on the jumpsuit and experimenting so far is taking a turn. Upior now looks very different than what he normally looks like. He looks like Luke Skywalker going to make the Death Star run.
I will stand in the circle. Yeah.
I wonder if the person in the circle has to touch the square. Is it within reach if you're in the circle?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll
I think
stand in
maybe
the circle and touch it.
Try that. You got to close the circuit.
Okay. You all see Upior
Disintegrate.
from his head to his toe just
Guts
sort
everywhere.
of disintegrate molecularly
Yeah.
out of existence.
Yeah.
Is this like in Willy Wonka when Mike TV gets sent to the
Good ref.
I guess you could say that. It's more like Star Trek Beam Me Up.
okay.
And he just sort of fades from existence. Upior, you feel nothing, but you do when you kind of blink and you open your eyes again, you do find yourself in a very different place.
Filled with monsters.
Yeah.
So you see, I thought that pad was on the northern end of that northern thing. But it's on the northern wall of that
wall of the alcove,
western
Yeah. Correct.
alcove, and there was nothing else in any of those alcoves, right?
Can we just kind of retcon one little thing and say, hey, Upior, if you get somewhere, come right back so we know you didn't immediately die.
Yeah. I mean, that's my plan. I think we should do some rug trickery as well, but I will about face and return if that is possible, John.
Well, let's see if it's possible, shall we?
God, I didn't think about that. I sort of assumed it was a two-way. Oh, no.
Okay.
We have a backup magic user, right?
All
right,
yeah, level one.
You find yourself in a chamber with no 90-degree angles, all curves, spotlessly clean. It's sheathed in black granite panels. Each of those panels has an octagonal pattern to them. All right. You can see across from you that there is, let's see, it's kind of important. There is some sort of shimmering force shield that is blocking off an area that is 10 foot wide in front of, like there's like a clear space like 10 feet in front of you that you could walk out into. But then after that 10 feet, there is like a shimmering force field that stands in front of something that's blocking something further ahead. If you step out of the niche you're in as well into that 10-foot area, you can see that there is another silvery circle directly to the east in a niche. And to the west, there is a corridor that only leads west for about 10 feet before it opens up into a massive room that is made from plasteel that has numerous corpses littering the chamber beyond.
That's a good place. You got to go right there. You check that out.
Yeah, no, I don't even come back for the guys. I just, I'm kidding.
Their chests are all exploded out, and
I'm going to, clearly the conflict caused some sort of defensive force field to be raised is my guess. Do I see, before I return, if that's possible, do I see from the distance I'm at, I have the continual light stone, what the nature of those corpses are? Do they look Necrontian? Do they look like more jumpsuits? Do they look like beasts?
It's tough to tell because they're relatively far away. But they appear to be very, very strange creatures that kind of tickle a memory a little bit. You think that maybe a couple of them might be Rudishvin, but they're in pretty bad shape. Some of them look completely foreign to you. Others kind of tickle your memory a little bit, but they're sort of hunched over or draped in sort of weird ways that you can't really tell. One thing that you do immediately tell, though, Upior, is that there is a silver square right next to you on a wall.
Which I'm going to touch.
Okay, you immediately teleport back to there, and there's also a glyph on it, by the way, that you couldn't read. But you teleport right back to your friends.
Oh God! Treasure beyond imagination. Gold rubies. Give me the rug. Go to the rug, you fools! Fly, you fools! Back to the haven and give it to me. I actually do. Well, we can just do it counter or
just
clockwise,
go.
I suppose. Yeah. Let's just do this one first. Okay, we'll do that.
So what are you doing?
They're jumping through the rug. I'm taking the rug. I'm going through the teleporter. I'm bringing them with me, or not, Ted?
Wait, no, we just all use the teleporter.
Can't hear you,
I
Ted.
haven't tried. Yeah, you're muted, Ted. It looked like you were saying really important things.
It was very important. Before Mort goes anywhere, I want to go back and close the other iris.
Oh, it
We
didn't
came
automatically
through
close.
I doubt it automatically closed.
What other iris?
The one we came into the hangar through.
You cannot do that.
I can't close
Well,
it.
I mean, can he get it closed as it was before, like head
No,
size?
it's fucked, man.
Oh, it's busted in the open state though.
It's open. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not so good.
We can deal with that. We can use the rug to
Bunch of
bring in
monkey
some
little
lumber.
pry bar, man.
I mean,
Yeah,
and
that's fine.
the droid's going to shoot anybody who tries to come through it, so it's protected.
Yeah,
But
but if
John,
those, well, okay, fine. So I'll go through with Upior then.
Well, and just to be sure, before we leave this area, and while he was gone looking around, I look around in those other niches. There's absolutely nothing on the floor. There's nothing on the walls. It's just one circle.
That's correct.
It's almost like maybe they were constructing different ones and they only built one. Okay.
There's also a lack of light in this tunnel as well.
And we have the lockets.
No, I just mean like to your point.
Oh, okay.
There's everywhere else it like lights up, right? This place did not.
Incomplete
And
construction.
But note that
And
I saw a different teleporter in the other room.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And nothing like this white marble that this is carved from, is it like finished and fine, or is it kind of rough and carved out?
It's finished. The white marble is it's very finished.
Does it look like it was made to mimic the plasteel?
Yes. All round, very, very Rudishvin. As I said, it's like, you can mistake it for nothing else but Rudishvin.
But do you guys think that the Rudishvins didn't put this wall up? That's an imitation, just like the golden rod?
No, I think they did. I think they just ran out of plasteel, and it suits their aesthetic. That's my feeling.
That's a pretty good guess, I think. All right, I want to go through the teleporter too. It looked cool.
Sorry. Now, I misunderstanding? Are there other plaques to potentially other locations at this teleporter? Just one way. Okay.
Those other niches are empty, he said.
Okay.
So what do you do?
Let's go through.
I go through. I step in the thing and push the button. I want to turn into little squares.
Okay, you have to go one at a time, but you all end up. So as you kind of exit out the other end of the teleporter, you kind of have to move off the teleporter to accommodate your friends. So you basically all kind of collect in this center 10-foot area. Okay. Now,
if possible, John, before I go through the teleporter, I want to catch a spider in the hallway and teleport myself with it so that I can get superpowers.
Oh, I was like, what? Okay.
It comes out like this.
You do strike a gold bloom figure.
Yeah,
we have to.
Question, John.
Yeah.
Can you suggest where on one of these maps I should
Yes,
map
that's exactly what I was going to do. So we only have 15 more minutes to play, but I'm going to take a quick break just to get Ted set up real quick on where we are going to continue mapping. We will be right back. Okay, we're back. We got a clear space of map here because it looks like you are definitely somewhere else. So where you are right now, you're going to draw a 10. You're in a 10-foot open area, basically. There are niches to the north, east, and south. However, the north one is completely blocked off what appears to be a force shield of some sort. You are exiting from the southern niche, which has a silvery circle and a silvery square. The eastern niche also has a silvery circle and a silver square with a Rudishvan glyph on it. To the west, there is instead of a niche, there is a 10-foot wide passageway of, again, no 90-degree angles, right? Everything is vaguely curved. You're probably just going to have to draw it without curves, Ted, but just realize that.
Wait, I missed something. The corridor goes west or east?
Goes west.
Oh, I drew this backwards.
Yes. And it opens up into a large chamber where Upior saw that there were corpses, a large plasteel chamber. Let's see here.
And there were silver circles north and south. But the north one's behind a force field?
That's correct, yeah.
And the eastern niche is empty.
Eastern niche is empty. Yeah, give me 1 second.
Okay. So, hanger. Let's make that larger.
There is a so the it looks like the eastern niche with its silvery circle can be accessed no problem. The northern one that has the shield obviously is blocking you right now. In addition, on that northern one, right next to it on the wall, there is a 10-inch square again, but this one is outside the niche, not inside the niche like the other ones were. Okay, and this one is a golden plaque that is inset, and this one is inset into the wall. It is not affixed to the wall like the silver ones were. Okay.
Okay. And does it have a rune?
It doesn't, but it is very sort of plain looking, except for the fact that it's basically golden. But it is around the same size and vague design of the panels that the ID plaque allows entry to.
So there's nothing that you can.
I bet it goes to the prison.
Yeah, so John, there's nothing that you can stand on. Like the other one, we had to stand on the silvery circle and touch the silvery plaque. For this gold one, there's nothing golden that we can stand on within reach, right?
Not within reach, and you can't see what's beyond the shield either.
It might just
so the force field is opaque.
It's yeah. It's like shimmering enough that you can't really make out what's on the other side.
Okay.
If well, never mind. Actually, yeah, the gold one might just take the shield down, but we don't know what's on the other side. It could be that does go to the prison area, and they have like a defensive thing in case they come through. But
yeah.
Now, to clarify, west of you, okay. Remember, there's a 10-foot wide span of passageway before it opens up into the larger places where there are corpses. Now, to be clear, what you're seeing beyond that passageway, directly in front of the open passageway, like basically almost you would have to step over them to kind of enter into the room, are two completely blackened corpses. All right. And they are, okay. They are crumpled on the ground, and they are extremely blackened. They the only thing that you can kind of tell, and this is what these two corpses are the ones that were sort of tickling your memory, Upior, and all of you guys sort of, it's like those. What are those exactly? And they're so charred that you can't really tell. But one thing that's distinctive about them is that they've got bullet-shaped heads that you've seen before, like very like salamander-like pointed heads. And their mouths are like gaping open with black and charred pointy teeth. And it looked like the ruins of whatever equipment that they used to have on them are just like melted and infused into the floor. The floor around them in the immediate area is also blackened and charred.
John, do they look like the? Oh shoot, I forget the names
like
of
hoppers.
the hoppers. Yeah, they look like hoppers.
They sure
Well,
do.
we've
They
seen the
very much resemble
statues.
the corpses of what that statue is in the middle of your stash pyramid.
Oh,
Oh.
And you also saw one imprisoned in the Goblin Halls.
Yeah, we saw a live one. Okay, and it looks like those.
Mm-hmm.
How old do these bodies look?
Very, very old. Been there a long time. Now, the other corpses that are beyond the room, which you can't quite get a beat on what they are without getting closer, the one thing that you can tell for them are that they are larger than the Hecate, the hopper corpses in front, and they are also not charred.
John, do I see any indication of corrosion on any surfaces? Acidic in nature?
Nothing corrosive, but you do see that the floor immediately near those Hecate, which are very, very close to you, only about 10 feet away, is definitely blackened.
Does it look as though that blackening originates from a center point like the corpse, or from like a vector that was shot at them?
That's the question I was looking for.
I know it was, baby.
Yes, it does. It looks. It almost looks definite that the blast or the fire or whatever it was, the explosion or whatever it was, came from your direction outward into the larger chamber and blew those Hecate like backwards or forwards, depending on which direction they were trying to go.
Okay.
Guys, I have a suggestion. This, just in case there's some kind of trap or security measure that like the one that blew up Mort is on the inside of this door, like right around the corner, triggered. Why don't we pull out a critter from the sack, toss it in? Worst case, we get some fried chicken.
I love your thinking.
That we can't eat
best case.
in the booby trapped area.
Well, if the best case, we don't get fried by the things ourselves. So
very, very wise.
I want to hide in one of the alcoves though, just in case there's like a shotgun effect down that hallway.
Sure. Why don't we all do
that's
that?
probably wise. Yeah. So Wolfhard will go ahead.
Sorry, before we do that, I just wanted to, trying to map and listen to John is hard sometimes. So there's a force shield to the north. We cannot see what's on the other side. We came in through the south from the hangar. In the eastern alcove, there is or is not a circle?
There is.
There is a circle.
Yep.
And there is a rune and a panel next to that?
There is in the eastern one. Yeah, that looks normal.
What does the rune say?
That's a good question, too.
Aha. I like it when I have those.
Let me just double check my map so I'm not saying it wrong. I have been known to make a mistake.
Never.
On a rare occasion.
No more than once per episode.
While John's checking, I am maybe this is too dungeon pilled of me, but while the first teleportation circle takes us back, right, I am concerned that the next might take us through a cycle in which they're not, they're one directional and we have to hop through some sequence. So before we test that out,
it did occur to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know what it says first.
Of course. I'm just saying it. So
by the way, Mort, I want my hat back. If you want your mask, I want my hat back. I look really cool in that, and you look kind of ridiculous.
I haven't been asking about Teresa or about the iron circlet at all during all of this.
Ooh,
it says detention block.
Remember that door we couldn't get through in the detention block?
Yep.
It's very similar to the one that we just went through here.
Yep. So that means I'm guessing the force shield leads to the bridge then.
Probably.
That would make sense.
That's my guess. Detention block. Okay, cool. All right, I'll swap hats with Matt. And I'll put the Touristus back on my noggin as it should be. And who's carrying the rug? Are you carrying the rug again, Matt?
Yeah, let's
I
take
have
it back.
plenty of slots if we need me to take the rug.
I don't need it
You
or not.
You can hold
I
it.
just want to know who's got it. All right,
you can take
Priest
it.
has a rug. Great.
Okay.
And then So what do you want to do? Do you want to go to the big room?
Yeah, so let's
Test the chicken.
Well,
Test the chicken?
yeah, we're gonna do the chicken test. So let's
Chicken
all like
test.
duck around the southern corner there. He's gonna.
I have an idea. If you want to eat the fried chicken, tie a string to the chicken and then throw it forward.
All right. Well, Lisbeth has some twine. Of course, she does. She learned from the master.
Famously,
So,
twine
I mean-
doesn't burn. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it.
It just gets a little blackened around the edges.
Yeah, yeah,
So
sure.
yeah, so he's gonna
14-year-old
pull
Boy
it
Scout
another
Mike says that's not true.
nice plump chicken
Yeah.
out of Laurel sack.
You have to name it first,
And
though.
you soccer throw it into the corridor.
Oh, this is Freita Junior.
Right to Junior. Okay.
Okay.
Not like
And
us.
Let's cut to the chase though, because it's the end of the session.
Yeah.
You're going to toss that chicken forward.
Ties the thing and tosses it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you toss the chicken into the corridor, when it crosses into the tiny 10-foot wide passageway before it hits the Heketi into the main room, a massive fiery explosion engulfs the chicken in that passageway. Just like comes out of nowhere, like an incinerator. Basically, you hear a quick squawk. That you feel the twine snap. And then there's just smoked chicken that's like,
Okay.
and a couple feathers
out of
floating in
reach.
the air.
Damn it.
Can we do one more test before we cut?
Sure.
I want to repeat this experiment, but I want you to scan your card on the gold square first, Ted, and do it with a mouse or something to see if we take the defense down.
I was going to suggest something like that. So there are no other squares on the walls or access panels or anything we can find. There's just the gold one.
And there's the
All
silver ones for the other nodes.
Right. But so I'll go over, and if Matt can get out a weasel or
A pig.
a pig,
Like a baby pig, suckling pig.
and steel wire this time instead of string. I'll try putting the access card on the gold panel.
Nothing happens. Actually, something does happen where you're used to hearing like that. You hear like a dirt on your card.
That's a Rhodesian for screw you.
Oh, I thought of it as like it's powered down. Well, let's try it anyway, just in case. How about
Try
that?
the pig.
All right. Poor Wilbur goes headlong
It'll be fine. Trust me.
into the tunnel. But Wilbur squeaks and trots off to the Heketi corpses and starts doing horrible things to them.
Ew.
Oh, so he's fine. Maybe it needs to reset.
Yeah, that'll be. Let's not find out how long that takes.
Do
Let's
you
go.
rush into the room?
Let's rush in.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's do it
Okay.
next time.
And that was the end of Arden Vul.
Well, all right, we can do it right now. It's right at the end. Do you want to rush in or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. You rush in.
I didn't say it. Everyone listening, I am the only one who didn't say that.
Which is a miracle. I don't understand how that
I said
happened.
it first.
But you are able to skedaddle as quickly as possible, shoving and pushing and cajoling each other to get through there, and you make it through. We'll say that Upior, the most reluctant, is the last one to like suddenly make up his mind and go. Upior, at the very last second that you actually pushed through, the fire roars into existence again, singeing the back of your orange jumpsuit. But you are on the other side.
So there is a reset period.
Okay.
Can I grab the fried chicken on the way?
Sure. It's like black though.
Oh,
Blackened chicken.
It's like the chicken from Christmas Vacation. You know, when they just
my
opens up
God.
and steam comes up.
It's okay, guys. We can manage with the rugs. We have methods. We're fine.
Yeah.
We're fine.
So you are in the other
worried
room.
about-
There's a lot going on in this room, but we will save it for next time. You are safely in that room though. So well done.
nice.
And we'll call it there. We can't forget that Barrios and Elizabeth have been tagging along this entire time as well. They've done nothing this session.
No, she
Frankly,
produced the
neither have
twine.
most of us.
I was going to
Oh,
say
yeah.
I was in the mood for lamb chops, but y'all decided for a pig and a chicken. I don't know.
oh, Barrios, don't listen to them.
Okay. So you appear to be okay. You're in this very strange room. We will describe it next time. We'll leave it hanging there. Well done. And that'll do it for episode 97 of the Halls of Arden Vul, the first episode of the final delve, Delve 6. You've been watching and are listening, and thank you for doing so, to 3D6 Down the Line, the most criminally underwatched actual play series on the internet. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon every time to get notifications every time we publish new material. If you got a little bit of extra cash, hook us up with a Patreon subscription, get a couple of cool bennies, a little access to secret channels on our Discord server, which is free to join for everyone. And do take the time to check out our lone publication at the moment, Feats of Exploration, which is a really cool alternate tack-on XP system, which encourages the behavior that you'd like to see from your players when they play OSR-style games. So thank you, as always, to all of our patrons, our explorers, delvers, and especially our conquerors. Who are those fine conquerors this evening? Mike, take it away.
Well, we have a new guy, and he's a Mike. So let's get a shout out for the Mikes out there. Mike Small, Richard Barton, James Boyle, Stephen BKK, Doc Jones 73, Snords, Jackson Bates, John Hooker, Kayla Ripley Wolf, Zachary Hall, Saps, Papa Bear, Zach Shiflett, Mercury 605, Ruben D. Collar, Dave Rosser Jr., Andrew, Dakota Nielsen, Cam, Stephen Quisenberry, Brad and Aiden, John and La Logan, the Kabrowskis, Magic Meat Machine, Tom Leary, Phil, Jeff Tokach, Nick, Terry Barney, Eric Lawson, Mando NZ, Faisal, Ted Gast, James Doig, Nefarious Gamer, Grunt, Andrew Schroker, MM, Michael Schilling, Stefano Di Maiolo, Ash Gabriel, the Hexbrawler Twins, Han Dandler, Summon Toast, Dungeon Heart Adam, Scott Yearsley, Mech Jack, Kick Maniac, Dire Grew, Tom Eric Gerritsen, not Matt but not least, Matt Mason, Matt Gardner, Matt Koenig, and Matt Young. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you,
Hey,
as always.
That's awesome.
Mike, I'm impressed. I thought you'd need that helm of comprehend languages to get through that, but you did great, bud.
It's very admirable.
I only speak English and bad English, so, you know.
You got through it. Thank God. Because they're paying good money to get their names read. So, thank you so much, everyone, for your continued support. We really do appreciate it. Everyone have a great week, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
See you. Thank you,
Thanks,
John.
Thanks, John.